Hello and welcome to my new show, Shootin and Pootin. It's kinda like a review thingy. And the first episode is going to be about Terkel in trouble! Yeah, I know, I've talked about it before, but this is my channel, goddammit. I talk about whatever I want! Anyway, Terkel in Trouble is an animated Danish movie from 2004, and it's weird. Very weird indeed. And I love it. It's like one of my favorite movies in a way I can't explain. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to try and explain why I like it. So let's start. The movie. The movie starts very strongly with the best character in the entire thing, Arne. I think Arne is the best character in the movie because he's the narrator character and you can see him just observing the other characters in the background of many scenes, and I don't know, he's just funny, okay? And since he's a narrator, he introduces us to the main character Terkel, his parents, and his sister Rita. We also get introduced to Terkel's best friend Jason. And this isn't important for now, but Jason walks always around with an iron pipe. Then Terkel and Jason go to school, where we get introduced to the two bullies, Sten and Saki. They bully a girl named Dorit because she is fat. We also get introduced to a girl named Johanna, but I won't talk so much about her because she's boring. Once Terkel and Jason gets into their classroom, Arne walks in and he's like, "Hey kids, I'm your music teacher, woohoo!" And then one of the greatest scenes in cinematic history starts. Imagine that holding out for a hero scene in Shrek 2, but times 1000, and you would get this scene. Well, now you're maybe wondering what this scene could be. Well, it's a musical number, a very good one, and it's called Arne han är för cool. And it's really good, plus we get to see Arne strip, so yeah, that's a plus. During recess, Terkel kills a spider, and then Terkel and Jason meet a guy called Gunnar. He says that he's a new substitute teacher for the school, and Terkel and Jason thinks he's kind of weird. Once back in the classroom, we learn that their regular teacher Yvonne, a character we never get to see, has died. And I've always felt that this scene is kinda rushed or something, because, we never get to see who Yvonne is, so her death has no impact on us. So it's kinda like if in Bambi, instead of having the scene where Bambi's mom dies, it's just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, your mom is dead, haha." It's just a little weird. Anyway, after that, Gunnar tells the whole class to go home. On the way home, Terkel tells Jason that they can't hang out at his place that day because his parents are going to get married the day after. I've always thought that was pretty interesting because you can see a photograph on Terkel's walls that look like a wedding photograph with Terkel's parents in it. So it is possible that his parents have been married before and they got divorced and they're going to get remarried, or that's just a photo from somebody else's wedding. But I'm probably just reading into it too much. After Terkel says they can't hang out at his place that day, Jason says that they can't hang out at his place either. And Terkel asks why, and Jason then gets mad at him. That is when we learn that Terkel has never actually been at Jason's house. And that's kinda weird since, they're best friends, and we presume they have been best friends for a pretty long time, so yeah. A little strange, but whatever. Later that night, Terkel is sleeping. Big surprise. But then somebody wakes him up, and it's just Jason trying to scare him. And in the middle of the night, they're watching a scary movie. And I find the movie pretty funny because it's called Evil Slayer 7. I don't know, I just find that funny. Next day, at the wedding, you can see Arne is Jesus on the cross. And I've always thought that was a big, missed opportunity to have him narrate what's happening below him while he's on the cross. Later at the wedding reception, we get introduced to Uncle Stuart. And he's kinda drunk all the time and he starts singing a song. Do you remember those bullies from earlier? Well, they are here now at the reception. Terkel goes out to talk to them, and they ask him if he can go and get a beer for them. Terkel is first hesitant and isn't sure if he should go and get a beer for them, but he does eventually do it. But on his way back, Terkel accidentally drops the flask behind Uncle Stuart. Ugh, freaking butterfingers. Terkel then rats out Stin and Saki because, they were the ones that told him to take the beer. And that makes Uncle Stuart go apeshit and he almost kills them. And now Terkel is very scared because the bullies are mad at him because of him they got beat up by his uncle. So shit. And the next day, Stin and Saki are mad at him and somebody has written "You are done for, Terkel" on his bench. Gunnar says that on Wednesday the class is going to go on an excursion to look at salamanders or something. They don't really say what they're gonna do with them, just like analyze or something. Anyway, Jason is not very thrilled about going on this school trip. And because Terkel is very excited to go on this trip, the bullies start calling him an animal abuser. Terkel doesn't want to be bullied anymore by the bullies, so he asks Gunnar what he should do. And that is what you actually should do if you are being bullied. Tell an adult and ask them what you should do. But Terkel must be stupid or something, because what he gets from Gunnar's advice is that he should rap. And it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. And that's a problem I have with many of the songs in this movie. None of them move the story along or has anything to do with the character motivations like in a traditional musical. So it's just like a movie with songs. It doesn't feel like a musical. It's not that important. I still like the songs, they are funny, but not very important for the characters or the story. Anyway, after that, on Terkel's way home, he's getting followed by the bullies and he almost gets killed. Happy family movie. After Terkel comes home, he calls Uncle Stuart to get some advice, and that leads to a song that once again doesn't affect the story, at all, but it's pretty funny, so it's okay. And the only notable thing that happens that night is that Terkel gets a brick through his window. That's normal. The next day in the classroom, Terkel is sitting alone crying in the classroom, even though Jason is also in the room. I feel like Jason should be able to comfort his best friend, since, they are best friends. I guess Jason isn't such a good friend after all. Do you remember the fat girl from the beginning of the movie? Well, she's back now, and she got a letter for Terkel. But the bullies think that they are dating, so they start bullying both of them. And that makes Terkel want to save himself, so he started bullying her too. And that makes the bullies start bullying her even more. So much that she kills herself. And now the bullies like him because she killed herself. When Terkel comes home, he finally reads the letter he got from the girl, and it's a love letter telling him that he's the only thing that matters in her life anymore. Shit. That night, Terkel had some spooky nightmares, and when he wakes up, somebody has written on his ceiling with blood. But who could have done that? The bullies are his friends now, so why would they have done it? Who could it have been? For some reason, Terkel doesn't tell his parents about all the blood in his ceiling and death threats. But to be fair, his parents probably wouldn't listen because they're kind of bad parents. When Terkel comes to school, a bus is already waiting for them. Then Terkel gives Gunnar his little report book, but Gunnar gets mad because somebody has written "You're gonna die" in the book. Once Terkel comes on the bus, Jason is mad at him for some reason, and then the bullies ask Terkel if he wants to sit with them, and Terkel says yes. This scene always reminds me about the bus scene in Battle Royale. And then a really funny song starts, and I like this song not only because it's funny, it also has a great art style that reminds me of South Park. When they get to the forest, Jason calls Terkel out for only being friends with the bullies because, he doesn't want to get bullied by them. And directly after that, Terkel goes and hangs out with them and decides to sleep in their tent instead of in Jason's. This next scene is probably the second funniest scene in the entire movie. It starts out with Jason alone beside a lake, and then he sees Johanna in the distance. Throughout the entire movie, Johanna has been trying to get together with Jason because she's in love with him, and Jason has been an asshole to her the entire time. And now Jason tries to, apologize for that, but Johanna's like, "Fuck that, fuck you," and he's like, "Yo, she kinda hot." And he sings a love song, and it ends with them getting together. This is once again a song that doesn't add anything to the story except one little thing later, but it's like it's still really funny, so it's okay. After that, we see Saki going to Terkel and Steen and saying that Jason slapped him because he was watching when he and Johanna was making out. Once again, I feel like this is a scene they could have shown us. Steen says that he's probably just mad about what happened to his sister, and Terkel gets confused about that because he has never heard about any sister. And then Steen confirms that Jason has a sister, and that sister is Dorit. Shit. I think we need to do a little recap, because I feel like that was a little too much at one time. Okay, so somebody wants to kill Terkel, and because it is Terkel's fault that Dorit killed herself, and Dorit and Jason are siblings, Terkel thinks that the one that wants to kill him maybe is Jason. Later that night, Terkel finds a dead cat in his sleeping bag, like you do, and then tells about everything that has happened to Steen and Saki, and Steen is like, well, that hasn't happened to us, so it doesn't matter. And then they fall asleep, like instantly. I wish I could fall asleep like that. And mysteriously, in the middle of the night, Terkel gets a text from somebody, and apparently it's Jason saying that he's gonna kill Terkel. If I was gonna kill somebody, I wouldn't tell them in beforehand, that's just kinda dumb. And then Steen tells Terkel that he should get help from Gunnar. And then Terkel leaves their tent, and everything is real spooky. But then from nowhere, Jason comes and he's like, yo, sup, and starts chasing Terkel. But Terkel got a flashlight and he yeets it in Jason's face, so it's okay. Terkel then finds Gunnar and tells him that they need to leave. Then Jason finds Steen and Saki and tells them that he doesn't have the phone. I wonder who's the guy that sent that text to Terkel then. Terkel then tells Gunnar everything that's happened in the movie so far, and then decides that he wants to call Jason and tell him that he has told Gunnar. But then, dun dun dun, plot twist, Gunnar has been the person that's been traumatizing Terkel throughout the whole movie. He's even the person that killed Yvonne. Now, you might be wondering what his motivations were for doing all of this. Well, do you remember that spider in the beginning of the movie? Well, Gunnar wanted to avenge the death of the spider. Yep, I am not joking. They have been hinting throughout the movie that Gunnar is an animal lover and been mentioning that he's a part of the gorilla club and etc. And even in that one scene, well, wait a minute. Where did that get that dead cat if he's an animal lover? That's a little strange, but it still works, it's still funny. And Terkel starts running because, you know, he doesn't want to die. And he tries to call his mom for help, but she isn't very much help. Then he meets Uncle Stuart, and he doesn't help. And all of this goes on for a while until Terkel gets hit by a stick by Gunnar. And then Gunnar starts strangling him. And keep strangling him. Do you remember that iron pipe Jason had in the beginning of the movie? Well, Jason uses it to attack Gunnar. Da-da! Very epic. But then Gunnar Jason Voorheeses his way back to life, and now somehow after getting hit in the head with an iron pipe he's stronger, because when Terkel tries to attack him again, he just catches the pipe in midair. It's kinda weird. And through a series of complicated events, Terkel gets the pipe back, but Gunnar kicks it out of his hands. Shit. And like a true animal lover, Gunnar always has 2 knives on him at all time. But then, the iron pipe falls down into Gunnar's forehead. No, it's still not quite finished. Gunnar is dead. Jason says he looks like a popsicle. Then Terkel asks Jason if he's mad about what happened to his sister. And then Jason says that he doesn't care, and they become friends again. And the movie ends with the best character doing a little narration. That was Terkel in Trouble. It is a really funny movie that you should watch if you ever get the chance to. And yeah, it's just very good. It later got a stage adaptation called Tackle the Motherfucking Musical. I have seen it, and I even got to meet some of the people on the cast, and they were very nice. And I would gladly pay money for a DVD or Blu-ray version of that. Please make one. And thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe and maybe even follow my Twitter.